Hello everyone. Our fourth professional skill is commercial acumen. Commercial acumen means you should have a business sense. For example, you are running a number. You are running a number on the Excel. Your NPV is great. Your IRR is great. Based on just Excel number, if you say that we should accept the project, that means you don't have the commercial acumen. You should actually check, is the business assumptions are making sense? Is it practically viable? Is it actually doable business in the market? So commercial acumen means showing awareness of the business context and strategic implication of the decisions. For example, I am working in a company which is dealing in data centers. So in data centers, you have to deal with a lot of power. And for example, if you are making an evaluation that you will make a data center in a country where electricity is very expensive. In that case, it will be difficult to sell data center to the clients because electricity is very cheaper. When your input cost is very cheaper, you have to sell at a very high cost. And when you have to sell at a very high price, probably nobody will buy from you. But if you are making data center in that country where electricity is cheaper, you can easily sell. So if you have the business sense, you can better evaluate the things. So commercial acumen means showing awareness of the business context and strategic implication of the decision. It is not just doing the numbers. It is demonstrating that you understand how the financial choices affect shareholder value. Strategy, competitiveness, risk appetite, and long-term viability. Just giving you another example. For example, management has a choice. Either issue bonus share or do the stock split. So in Pakistan, if you do the bonus issue, if you issue the bonus shares, shareholder have to pay the tax. But in stock split, they will not have to pay the tax. So if you are reading a case, if you know the background, you can better guide the shareholders that don't approve the bonus share, approve the stock split. So if you know the business context, if you know the commercial aspect of that particular area, you can better guide the management and the shareholders. So it is about connecting the financial analysis to the real world business. So your advice reads like what a board of directors would expect. Remember, commercial acumen is very important. Commercial acumen is a professional skill which can be tested in question number 1, 2, or 3. All the question it will be tested. Examiner report often says candidate produce technically correct answer, but fail to comment on strategic and market implication. That's why you unable to get the commercial acumen marks. So if you read the ACCA guidelines, you must show you can link financial result to the business outcome. You can comment on the shareholder wealth impact. You should know how to analyze the result, and you can, if you able to connect your your case study with the practical implication, you will easily get the commercial acumen marks. So let me discuss few examples. For example, you have make a case of investment appraisal and NPV is $18 million, for example. So explain what this means for shareholder and whether company will be able to achieve that. For example, my company new project is producing $18 million in PV. It's a very good project, huge potential. But do I have the funding? Maybe it is given in the case that company is already highly geared. And maybe it is given in the question that company has not paid dividend for 5 years. So from where you will raise the funds? So this is commercial acumen. You will highlight this case. Although project is very good, but commercially it is difficult for the company to do this project. Second, project is very good, highly lucrative, NPV is very high, but after doing this project, your beta will increase. So you will comment that although project is financially viable, but commercially it is difficult for the company to do this project because it will increase the risk profile of the company, or it's not under the risk appetite of the company. For example, project is okay, very good, but competition is huge in the market, which is not considered in the Excel, in the spreadsheet calculation. So you will highlight that. For example, project is very good, or you are acquiring some company, that company is very good, but the shareholder percentage return is lower. Or for example, IRR of the project is lower than the current earning of the business. Or for example, currently return on capital of the current business is 20%, but the new project return is 15%. So what is the benefit of doing the project? So you have to comment on these things. So you can conclude that that company should modify this, company should consider this test, company should run more tests to consider these implications. Otherwise, company should not do the project. Technically, you have to connect your business case with the commercial implications. Next example, merger and acquisition. For example, you are acquiring a company and company is giving you some benefit. But how you will acquire that company? Cash offer, you need to raise money from the market. How you will raise? You are already highly geared. You want to acquire other company by exchanging share for share. But by exchanging share for share exchange, you are giving huge proportion of the company ownership to the other company. So after acquisition, how you will balance the power? Or for example, you are acquiring other company, but the gain to your shareholder is lower, and gain or the premium offered to the other shareholder is very high. For example, your shareholder is gaining 3-4%, and the other company shareholders are gaining 30%. So then you have to discuss the reaction of your shareholder. But your shareholder will not agree to this. Why they will agree? It is not making commercial sense to them. They are not earning anything. So you have to comment on this. And you can advise that company should do some cash transaction, some share transaction, mix offer, or anything like bond offer on this. For example, you are doing a hedging question and you are suggesting company should do the future contracts. Then you have to comment the commercial implication of that. If you do the future contract, you have to take care of the margin, initial margin, and mark to market calculations. Company have to deposit initial amount of margin, and anytime it changes with the market, you have to deposit some amount as a variation margin. So it will be difficult for you to do the planning because future contract prices can change and you have to deposit initial amount plus the change in amount in future months. That is a problem. You can't do the liquidity management because anytime you have to submit some amount. Although it will save you from some default, but future contract has some problem of this liquidity management. You have to deposit initial margin. You have to take care of the variation margin. And plus, you can also face the basis risk. If you discuss this, that means you are considering the commercial implication of the future contract. If you are suggesting the option contract, the commercial implication means you have to discuss about the initial premium offered. Company has to pay the initial premium, and for that initial premium, company may have to borrow from the market. And on that borrowing, company may have to pay the interest cost. For example, you're doing another question and it is about the investment appraisal. IRR is 12%, WACC is 9%. Although IRR is high, but the project is in another country where political risk is high, or project is in that country where in past year company has stopped the remittance. Company has blocked that country has blocked the remittance, although not currently it is okay. So you, for example, you are doing a project in ABC country. Currently there is no issue. Currently that country is promoting everything, but it has a history in the past few years that that country has blocked the remittance. So you have to write the commercial acumen. You should have commercial acumen. You have to write the commercial implication that in future you may have to face this. If political government changes, you have to face this risk. For example, I was reading a news that North Korea is promoting tourism. So if you are going to North Korea for tourism purpose, you should keep this in mind that this country has a history of some other background. For example, you are building your house near the river. You should consider this into your mind that this river has a history of cutting its ways. So that is commercial. You have to write the commercial implication. So advice is you can write the sentences, although the numbers appear attractive, commercially this may be challenging, something like that. From a strategic perspective, this project could be, from financial perspective, this is okay, but from the strategic perspective, this project could face these problems. Financial structure may not be sustainable, market action could affect. In commercial time, management should consider this before proceeding to the project. Your wording should be like this. Quick checklist. Did I link the financial result to shareholder value or strategy? Did I comment on practical commercial feasibility, funding of the project, timing of the project, the risk of the project? Did I flag stakeholders or market reaction? What would be the market reaction? What would be the shareholder reaction? Did I give actionable advice? So, in short, whenever you are solving question, you have to show that whether you have identify anything, any commercial implication. For example, in investment appraisal project, you can identify, for example, you can identify the risk is higher. You can identify that gearing of the company is changing. You can identify that this project is financially viable, but commercially in this country, it may not make sense. The way I told you the example of data center. For example, in Pakistan, everybody says that we have spare electricity. We can make data centers, we can do the mining of Bitcoin, but electricity is very expensive here. And using the expensive electricity, if you do the mining of Bitcoin or make a data center, it would be expensive. Where you will sell that data center with huge electricity cost. This is commercial acumen. For example, you are you are building a new project. For example, we were evaluating uh, uh, a new project where we need to have a lot of supply of water. And if we making this project in part of that country, where there is no river, there is no canal. So you can identify this, that financially it is okay, but commercially how you will make sure the supply of water, right? For example, if you are making a plant of rice in Balochistan where there is no agriculture, you can identify this risk. So bottom line is, to score commercial acumen marks in AFM, don't just stop at the number is positive or negative. Interpret, connect to the strategy, market, flex feasibility, risk, conclude with advice. That flow shows you are thinking like a commercial CFO, which is exactly what the examiner rewards. So you have to identify the commercial sense of the project. So whenever solving the question, think according to this.